I'd like to welcome everyone to a press conference for the second annual Grass Peace Promotions event of the 2015 Cayman International Youth Football Tournament. On the panel we have today Minister of Sport Osborne Bodden, Vice President of CIFA Bruce Blake, and Jeremy Newton, the Academy Manager from Swindon Town. Just like to go through the events of the entire week. We are fresh from the start off of the Swindon Town Youth Football Camps, which is an all-week camp at the Annex. Starts at 9 a.m. each morning, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday and Friday. And we have had 75 kids out this morning for the first session. It looks really great. With Jeremy from Swindon, we have Ben Deacon and Andy Minturn, both UEFA B licensed coaches and some local coaches assisting. It seems like a great time already. We can't wait to get back, but we're here to present also on the youth football tournament. The second annual tournament will see the reggae, not only Swindon Town from England, but the Reggae Boys from Under 15 team from Jamaica, which will be a preview of the team that does the CONCACAF Under 15 tournament. We also have the Cayman Under 15 team, which will be in the tournament as well. So it's previews of those, and then we have a Cayman select team. I'd like to then now pass on to Minister Bodden. And thank him as well for all of his support, continued support in supporting us with these events.
Thanks, Bruce, and good morning to all, and good morning on the panel. I'm thrilled to bring greetings to all involved in this week's Swindon Youth Football Tour, and to extend friendly Cayman Islands welcome and to all those who will be arriving. Those who are here and those who will be arriving in the coming days. I'm pleased to join this distinguished panel. Bruce Sigsworth on my right, who just spoke, of Grass Peace Promotions, Jeremy Newton of Swindon Town, and Bruce Blake of CIFA. In addition to the local stars, we welcome the defending champions from the English One outfit, Swindon Town Football Club, and Jamaica's Under 15 national team, as you just heard Bruce say. I applaud Grass Peace Promotions team for what is shaping up to be an exciting 2015 Cayman International Youth Football Tournament this weekend. Government sponsorship of the three-day event includes my ministry as well as the Ministry of District Administration, Tourism and Transport. We are happy to collaborate with private sector partners, Maples, Pepsi, Aquafina, DART, and other corporate sponsors. There are a number of keywords that will appear when you speak of a tournament, an event like this, and key among them are two very important ones: teamwork and partnerships. This is now the fourth time or the fourth trip that Swindon is making to the Cayman Islands, and it is through the teamwork of the local group Grass Peace Promotions and the partnerships that they have developed, not just with Swindon Town, but with CIFA, other sponsors, other football teams, and groups locally, that will allow us to have a successful tournament and development camps over the next week. As far as the Cayman Islands are concerned, this teamwork and partnerships have yielded 3 young Caymanian footballers obtaining professional youth development football contracts with a quality youth program in one of the stronger football leagues in the world. It has also yielded a young Caymanian in the form of Sebastian Martinez making history by receiving an apprenticeship contract with Swindon, so that he is now being paid a small amount for his footballing ability, even while he continues his studies and academic development. Through the camps, they will also expose our youth to highly qualified UEFA accredited coaches as part of the Swindon Town coaching team. I wish to again congratulate Grass Peace for putting our youth front and center of their plans and activities, and for spreading the benefits of this tour to include other youth teams in the Cayman Islands, and by involving a future FC select team and the Cayman Islands national Under 15 team. This, I expect, will allow a large cross-section of our best under 15s to be exposed to this higher level of competition. In general, I congratulate the overall efforts of everyone, especially CIFA and CONCACAF, to enhance our participation as well as our role as a hub for the sport. For instance, Cayman was recently chosen as the location of the sports arbitration court for the entire region, from Canada to Argentina, which promises not only a new sub-industry for our economic engine, but an opportunity to make real contributions to the development of this beautiful game. Once again, I'd like to express appreciation to the president of CONCACAF, our own Jeff Webb, for his role in ensuring that we have received such benefit. For the government's part, football remains the most popular of the focus sports in the government school sports roster, and our commitment to developing fields and facilities should be evident, with significant strides being made in recent times. I commend the local boys who will be seen on the pitch this week with Swindon Town, namely Craig Foster and Nathan Board, who have been taking advantage of the opportunity to develop their football in England. I must also encourage our football fans, family and friends to come out and enjoy the beautiful weather and the high standards of youth football that will be on show this week. Thanks to all of the organizers, parents, coaches and supporters of football, and I look forward to seeing tremendous displays of talent this week. I just add a caveat to that in that unfortunately I won't be in attendance. I had a family trip planned, so I apologize in advance for not being at the games. I leave tomorrow evening, but certainly I'll be well represented by my Assistant Chief Officer Joel Francis, as well as Councillor Alva Saku, and maybe my new Chief Officer, Ms. Dory, might even get out there during the week. So we're looking forward. We're excited as a new ministry with all the work that's been going on, and we look forward to the continued support. Thank you all.
Thank you. Yep. Thank you very much, Minister Bodden, for those great words. And again, thank you very much for your support and continued support. We'll now go over to Bruce Blake, Vice President of CIFA, for some words.
Thank you, Bruce. Protocol being established. I'd like to also say thanks to Swindon Town and Grasspeace for once again bringing the tournament back to the Cayman Islands. Thanks to the Cayman Islands government, the Minister of Sports, for government continued support of the tournament. I'd also like to thank President Webb and Resident Renard Moxham as the Director of National Programs for assisting in making this tournament possible. I think it's a great opportunity, not only for our kids, but also for our coaches. We know Swindon brings a complement of qualified, coaches and administrators to the tournament, and they conduct various camps, which are, beneficial for our youth. And we know the opportunities that are available. By Swindon coming here, we see Sebastian and others that have joined Swindon. And another element that we're adding this year is, basically a coach's education program. It's good for Swindon to come in, coach our players. But one thing we also trying to focus on going forward, not only for this tournament, but other tournaments that we organize in the Cayman Islands, is that their coaches, their administrators sit down with our national program coaches, our local coaches, and go through the education of coaching. Not only what happens on the field, but what happens off the field. There's a lot of administration that goes into coaching. What you see on the sidelines is only a small part of coaching, and it's for us as CIFA to develop our coaches to ensure that they're aware of best practices, they're aware of the technologies out there that they can use to scout players, to evaluate players and so forth. So Swindon has agreed to do a coaching course tomorrow at 5:30 at the Truman Bodden Sports Complex, and we've invited all of our local coaches and our national program coaches to attend, and they'll go through various administrative things. How do you assess players? What information do you retain on players? How do you evaluate players? What kind of meetings do you have? Why? Those are the things that happen in the background that we need to also educate our coaches, because it's only it's only through our coaches that we'll be able to develop our players properly. Yes, we have the government that assists with infrastructure. We have CFA that assists with coaching and the leagues and so forth. But one of the important elements are our coaches. Our coaches are the ones that deal with our players day in and day out. And yes, we have to develop our players, but we also have to develop our coaches. So Jeremy, thank you for agreeing to assist us with that. And looking forward to the tournament, asking everyone to come out and give their support to Grass Peace. Thanks again to Bruce and his team for putting such a tournament together. It's always good when private enterprise steps in and adds to or complements CIFA with what we're doing. And this is actually a good time to have these kinds of tournaments, especially leading into the CONCACAF tournament in August. We have this tournament now. We have another tournament coming up later in the year. So, and then our team is scheduled to go away to compete. So this crop of boys will actually have entered 3 major tournaments prior to the August tournament. So they should be well prepared. And again, thank you, Jeremy. And I wish that another one of our young players will get an opportunity to join Swindon, coming out of this tournament.
Thank you, Bruce. You touched on that, and I'd just like to highlight from the camp, Grass Peace Promotions in partnership with Swindon Town will be offering at least one player a training opportunity at Swindon Town Academy. It will be chosen by the coaches of Swindon Town in partnership with Grass Peace, and we will provide that player with the airfare to go to Swindon Town. I don't know if you want me to mention. Yeah. CIFA has also partnered with us as well in that for a national team player and supporting them as well in equal to what Grass Peace does. And we're thankful for that as well, Bruce. So there is going to be a continued, and we're in conversations constantly with Jeremy about it, but a continued relationship and partnership to give the development and continue the development of young Cayman talent. So at this time, I'd like to hand over to Jeremy Newton, the director of the academy at Swindon Town.
Okay, morning everyone, and thanks again to the panel for this opportunity. I'm quite privileged that I've been here 4 times in a work environment and probably another 4 on my vacation now. But it's another opportunity for us to bring a group of players across. The group of players we've brought this year are particularly quite strong, we believe. It will feature some 2000s as well, so some younger ones, some that come last year. And it was a fantastic tournament for us. It's a challenge on all fronts, not just the technical and tactical side, but more from the psychological side of dealing with the variables that come with travelling so far to play in a tournament. So the hydration, the rest, and the time difference is a major factor that we have to build into our itinerary for the players. It sounds, quite a small thing, but from an output, it's a huge thing that we have to prepare our players in a way that they're going to perform at the maximum level Thursday at 5 o'clock, which is equivalent of playing at 10 o'clock back home. So it's something we have to look at the rest. And what we've brought over is two staff coaches that are doing the camps at the moment, along with myself. Head of medical will be with us. Our head analyst will be with us. Head of recruitment and welfare. So again, it's a tournament that we take very seriously, that we want to win it, and we have to bring the staff that we need in order to make sure that we perform. So the medical, massages and ice baths and stuff like that will be taken care of. Our analyst will clip every game to what I want. So if I want to concentrate on certain things within entries into the final third, then he can clip that live and show me back at half time. So that's an added tool that we've got. So in our first game Thursday at half time, the analyst will be in with me going through with which is what happened in the first half, to make sure that I'm happy with what I've seen, and if I need to correct anything, then we will. So it's a big tournament for us. We're quite fortunate. We go on tournaments. We got another one in 4 weeks in Holland, and then we go to another one in Ireland in July. So we think tournament football is beneficial for all our players, no matter whether they're going to become professional footballers or grassroots players. The eventualities of winning a game still takes place. So we're definitely looking forward to it. I mean, the numbers on the camps this morning was it took me a bit surprised, to be fair. But again, you know, some real good. I mean, I took the first group this morning, which were the little 6 and 7 year olds, and in Swindon, in our academy back home, that's the most important age group, the 6 year olds, because they're the first port in the academy. So we have to get our 6 year olds right. And then it's a 10-year plan to get where we want at the end of our under-16 before we take them to be youth team players. So it's an integral part of the academy. The younger ones are the foundation. So hopefully we can identify, you know, some 6, 7s, monitor them, and I'm sure there's other players in the older age groups that we can try and look at, and hopefully, you know, get them across as well, which is the opportunities which we want to do. You know, everyone on the panel here has supported Swindon Town over the years, and you know, and hopefully, you know, that's shown in the contracts of Nathan and Cray, but you know, more importantly, Sebastian. Now Sebastian will be full time with me in July. He will be getting paid, which is good for him, so he can send some money back to all the support of him. So I'm sure the government and SIFA will get some money back for all the support that they've given him over the years. Yeah. But he's growing. He's growing in confidence. He's one of 10 that's been offered youth contracts, which shows you the strength of that age group. It is a good group. But he's done really well. We've changed his position from a number 7. We've changed it to a number 10. And we've seen a change in him in the last 4 months. So if we didn't do that, would we have offered him a contract? We don't know. So we have changed his position. But again, you know, a lot of work. You know, I know Bruce spoke about the work that goes behind sort of on the field. You know, we've got our own psychologists now working with the teams. Again, we've got analysts and sports scientists and sports therapists. So there's a lot of work that goes on sort of behind the scenes of playing in the match. You know, more set on the player being you know, ownership of themselves, really taking more responsibility of themselves. And a lot of this will be delivered back in the presentation for the coach's education. But no, we're more than happy to be here. We're hoping to, you know, steal a few more players off the island if we can, and give them the opportunity that the other boys have. And hopefully, you know, it is an opportunity, and it's down to those individual players whether they want to become a player at the end of the day. Yeah. And we've seen that, you know, with the right application, the right attitude and application, as well as adhering to the education side. It's a big thing for me in the academy. You know, we have a day release program for our under 12s and 13s, so they're actually schooled now, and our head of education is in contact with all the schools, not just the day release program, but all the schools from 9s up to 16s, to make sure that, you know, they're on target for their schoolwork and academic side. And you know, Seb is a clever boy, so he's going in the right direction as well as the other boys. So we're all happy on the education side. But the education side is paramount for me, because, you know, not everyone's going to be a footballer. So it's important that they still attain, you know, get the best grades they can. So you know, football, you know, it's always going to be there at some level, but education will be there more so. So that's a big player for us. So very happy.
I'd like to thank Jeremy. Thank him also for my recent trip over to Swindon and his hosting me and guiding me in attachment at Swindon Town during my initial course. I look forward to coming back soon in, I think it's about 2 weeks to...
Did you get signed?
Not yet. Still, yeah. Still trying to... I don't think the education the education better work, because I don't think the football will. But thanks again, Jeremy, for everything, and we look forward to continuing the relationship with Swindon. It's been an amazing relationship. Swindon has opened up to Grassby, CFA, government, anything, any support they can, and will continue to, I know, from Jeremy's point. So thanks again, Jeremy. At this stage, we'll open up to questions from anyone from the press.
Morning, guys. Thanks for being here. Kevin Morales with Cayman 27. So, Bruce, just to clarify something you had said before. So, as a result of this tournament, Grass Peace Promotions will be sending one player, and CFA will be sending one player for a total of 2 players, or?
No.
That's wrong. Okay.
What will happen will be from the camp, at least one player. So I leave that at least. It could be 4, it could be 6, but at least one will be identified and given the opportunity to do a training opportunity, a 1-week or 2-week training opportunity at Swindon Town Academy. Grass Peace Promotions will present them with airfare for that trip. CFA has confirmed that they would, for a national team player, provide the similar value to support that same player or players.
Not necessarily as a result of this tournament, but just somebody who CFA thinks is the best fit. Is that correct?
No, it's actually what comes out of this tournament. It's basically if Germany identifies someone that's part of one of our national programs, we'll assist to have that person sent over.
Yeah. And that's again, I'll just add to that. That's how Cray Foster was noticed. That's how others have come about. So it's just following in the same suit. And it's just an offer from the camp. And like I said, CFA is supporting it with additional support.
And Jeremy, you touched on this just now, but just to kind of hammer home the point, obviously exposure is a huge thing for footballers here. How big of an opportunity is this for local footballers from, like you said, 6 years old up to 15 to get exposed and to get noticed by Swindon Town?
Well, over the years, we have noticed that there is a hotbed of talent upon the island. It's working, along with Grass Peace and CFA to try and nurture and really identify the players. And if we can do some work with the coaches, work with the structures in place, then hopefully the transition between coming off the island and into our academy isn't as big as what it was, say 3-4 years ago. The gap is getting closer, and it makes the transition a lot easier for a player to come off the island into our academy. So that's the whole general interest really of making that gap better.
And just to add to that, Kevin, we know entities like Swindon, they come once a year, but they come in for a week or 2 and then they leave. We need to set up the foundation where even though they're not here, we still have that process in place, and that's where we need to focus on our coaches to make sure that we bring our coaches up to a certain level that they can then coach the players, and it'll make that transition a lot easier. And this is where we're asking Swindon and other entities that come on island for their assistance. Let them show our coaches what goes on in the background, what needs to be done, what records needs to be kept, what kind of evaluations need to take place, and also ensure that our national program has the right support to bridge that gap.
Next question is for the minister. I can't let you go without asking you something about funding. Can you say how much, you talked about a private-public partnership, can you say how much government has supported this program with?
How much we have already?
Yeah, just how much, I guess, government funding is going toward, or public funding is going toward this tournament.
Well, this particular camp, I don't remember the amount, 5? It's 5,000. Yes. 5,000. But the ongoing maintenance of Sebastian and the others over in the UK is where the majority of our funding has been in terms of individuals. But all of the camps that are done locally by people like Bruce and Cheeky or whoever it is that's doing it, Arden Rivers that is, we get involved and we support both from my ministry and from the tourism side, because at the end of the day it is sports tourism. But just to say, as minister, looking at the big picture, just to hear Jeremy say what he said just now is pleasing, because it shows that we are starting to get our coaching and our development of players to a higher level. And that's what it's all about. When they can transition a lot less seamlessly, or more seamless, I should say, then it's that much easier on them. You know, when you you come from a small island like this and you go to British football, which is one of the big meccas of football, it is for a young man or young woman, that is people don't sit here and really appreciate how big a change that is. That is huge. Weather, food, people, football, it's all different. And when you hear Jeremy speak about the processes that are in place, the support that is in place, the type of analysts, the type of therapists, the psychologists, you name it. This is what, when people see people play professional football, they want to, well, yeah, you know, that's the end result. But it takes a lot to get to that stage. And not only luck, but it takes the right attitude and being in the right place at the right time. But it all starts with development. And at the end of the day, we're developing good people who hopefully some of them will become whatever. But at the end of the day, we're really hoping to make sure that our youngsters are developed through football, through sports, and that's what it's all about.
All right, last question from me, and I hate to hijack the subject for a second, but you had mentioned the the Court of Arbitration for Sport possibly being set up in Cayman. Can you give an update on that? As far as I knew, it was just sort of a committee to see if it was feasible here. Is there anything further that you guys can add to that?
I can't add a lot more to it right now. I don't know if Bruce has more information than I on that, but I have not had a chance to sit with CONCACAF on that. But the announcement has been made, which is I think a good thing for Cayman. Anything that brings people here and shines the spotlight on Cayman is a good thing.
Bruce, is there anything else that you can add to that?
And just to clarify, I mean, it isn't necessarily a court. Basically, what it is that we've made it easier for people to come to Cayman to arbitrate. And, you know, it involves CONCACAF and CONMEBOL. And the agreement that they've come to is that any disputes in relation to, you know, anything regarding CONCACAF or CONMEBOL, you know, will be heard in the Cayman Islands. So therefore, you know, what we probably see going forward is that, you know, when CONCACAF entered their contracts, they would have an arbitration provision in there that says that if there's a dispute, it has to be heard in the Cayman Islands. And then if there's a dispute, you know, the parties, along with, you know, if there's witnesses or lawyers or whatever, would come to Cayman and have arbitration in Cayman and resolve it in Cayman. And arbitration can happen anywhere. You know, it can happen in any conference room, you know, anywhere. But the good thing about it is that it would provide Cayman with another pillar of our financial services industry. You know, considering, you know, what is entailed with arbitration, you know, you may have translators, you know, you may have lawyers, you may have accountants, you may have actuaries, you know, of course you may have players, clubs, confederations. So we expect that there'll be, you know, an increase in the number of persons coming to Cayman to deal with those things.
And sorry, just last, is this 100% this is happening kind of a thing, or is it still in the planning stages?
Well, I mean, there's a few things to get sorted out, but I mean, the infrastructure is already here. So, you know, it's just a matter of proceeding.
All right, I'm done. Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin.
Just one question. Jamie Twill with Radio Cayman. We've talked a little bit about what you've seen in terms of development here and the strides. The minister touched on the transition being a lot easier now for these players, but I'm curious to get your take on some of the infrastructure here. Obviously coming from the UK, no shortage of stadiums, pitches from the grassroots level on up. Where do you see the infrastructure here now? Is it where it needs to be? Because SIFA, Bruce, and the fellows over there have been doing a great job in trying to improve things, center of excellence, and go down the list. But just wanted to get your take on what you've seen and if it's where you think it needs to be.
With anything, with infrastructure, it does come with funding. You know, academy players are long-term projects. So we get them in at 6. We have a 10-year plan in order to get them to a youth team level. A lot of finance has to be inputted into that. You know, that's where the government might have to look at certain criteria to try and meet that. As well as educating the coaches, delivering back. You know, those coaches have to deliver back a syllabus which is in place. That's something that CIFA have to come up with themselves in a structure from the whole sort of football side of it. And it's not getting no getting away with it. They have to have a level of investment to achieve whatever they want to achieve. Don't get me wrong, they're doing a great job now. It's where how far and where they want to go, and how quickly do they want to go. It's one of my dreams. At some point, I would probably want to come here full time, and work here. Maybe in the next 5-10 years, that's what I want to try and do. But any help that I can do to CIFA, then I'm quite open. I will share everything that we do back home with CIFA, and they can take as much or as little as they want, really.
And just to give you an update, I know you were at the CIFA Center of Excellence when we went through the plans for the new field, and just to let you know that we've now marked out the new field. This week we're drilling holes just to test the sub base to make sure that that's in order. We're scheduled to complete the artificial turf project. They say the end of June, but let me say the end of July. So that's our aim, to have that in place, and then the next stage from that is to install lights. So we'll have that field completely done, and the other phases is dormitories and then a second field. So by July we should have that artificial field in place.
So I was going to just touch on the pitches. We back home we have different pitch sizes for every different age group. So we're quite fortunate that we've got teams from under 7s to 18s, and each of them have got their own unique pitch designed for their size and their age. So we're quite fortunate that we have that. I'm not too sure that they have that on the island, but so our 7s, 8s, 9s and 10s will play on a 60 by 40, either 6-a-side, 7-a-side or 8-a-side depending. Normally it's the younger ones that do 6, 7s and then 8s, and then our under 11s will play on a 9v9 75 by 50, and then our under 12s will play on an 85 by 55, and then under 13s we have an option where we can play on the 85, 55 depending on the size of the boys. If they're physically a little bit more advanced than the others, then we can push them onto the 11 side. But still, that's not full size. That's 90 by 60, and then 14 they go full size. So we've got all them pitches.
I know you mentioned funding being an issue, obviously.
Yeah.
If it isn't, and government and CIFA are able to do that, is that something you would encourage?
Yeah.
Here in Cayman, having those smaller fields.
Yeah, definitely. It's fundamental for the young ones' development. So if they're on a smaller field, it's not hard to realise that they have more touches of the ball.
And Bruce, is that something you'd consider if the funding was there?
Yeah, and also we're considering now, once this season is over, we're bringing together various stakeholders to just discuss our youth leagues. Like Jeremy said, you need different sizes for different age groups up to under 13, and that's something that we're seriously going to look at going forward.
Thanks.
Thanks. Raymond Singh from Paramount Media. Just to touch on that last question, is the idea then to remark theoretically possibly the other fields around the island to cater to the smaller pitch sizes for the younger groups? Is that possibly down the line, or is that strictly for School of Excellence and the...
Well, what we do now is just like the primary school league, we use the artificial fields, and we either play half the field, and you see the black marks on the artificial field. So we will mark it out that way. Of course, we don't have all of our fields are 11-a-side fields, so it would be us then modifying the fields each time we need to play a game.
Next question is actually based on the under 15 select team that's participating in the tournament. Is this group of kids that might not have actually been, or might have been cut from the national team, or are these possibly younger kids that might form the 2000 or 2001 age group?
These are actually a little older than the 2000-2001. The tournament was designed at first for 99s, children born in 1999. So these are that group in between, or group just above the 2000s. So it should be a little challenge to the under 15 teams to play against this select team. But really and truly, it was designed to showcase the best talent. Like I said, the tournament was at 99s. We included the under 15s because, like Bruce said, it's great to get them in and get them a competition similar, and that's why Jamaica, the Reggae Boys, jumped on board. They jumped on board in seconds to get here because they want to give their boys a challenge and go against. So it is also to showcase that age group. Swindon Town, Kareem Foster went to Swindon Town, I think, last summer, along with Aidan Hugh. He'll be playing with the under 15s. He's also being looked at again by Swindon Town to see if he's maybe the next one to make the trip. And also Leighton Thomas, who was a previous, went I think the summer before Kareem to Swindon. He will be in that group of 99s, which will be a strong team and give a good challenge to the under 15 teams.
And most of the select players are part of our under 17 national program.
Yeah.
So theoretically, the select team is favored to win.
Could be, but in football, the ball is round. We don't know what Jamaica brings. We don't know what Swindon. Swindon has, I think, 2 Scottish under 15 internationals in their group, and like Jeremy said, is a very strong group. I think some of them this might be their 3rd trip, Jeremy. Some of them to Cayman, so they're used to it as well. They know the ground, they know the field, how the ball bounces on our turf, kind of thing. So. And don't discount the Cayman under 15s. They're very good going forward. Have some strong players in that group. Kareem Foster is one of them. Just one of them. There are Nicholas Chung, Jeffron Robinson. So there's some great players and great talent, raw talent in all of the teams. So I don't think there's a favorite. I wish I could tell you, but we don't know. Jamaica might come strong too. So it's going to be a really great tournament, and we look forward. Jamaica plays Swindon on the last night of the tournament, but the select and the under 15 Cayman team play each other on the 5 o'clock game as well. So I mean that night alone, I'm getting goosebumps just thinking about it. It's going to be great football, yeah, overall.
Thank you. One last question to touch on the possible scholarship opportunity for a child to go off to Swindon and develop further. You mentioned that it's not limited to strictly one child, that if other children are isolated as talented enough to participate, that it will open up to more than one potential. Is that correct?
Correct.
And the funding from that would come from Grasspeace Promotions?
Yes, not all funding. We're going to partner with parents as well. We all have to do our part, as we know. And so we will provide airfare, cover the total airfare and the connection of the opportunity itself. CIFA will provide, if it's a national team player, the same amount, and we hope that amount should cover other expenses such as travel from airports, hotels, food, but of course parents will have to chip in as well. It's not as cheap, as we all know. It's not cheap flying to England or getting to England or living, or not living, but visiting England. So it's a all hands on deck kind of thing. We'll facilitate the opportunity and the airfare. CIFA will facilitate their side, and the parents will fill in the rest. Yeah. Thank you. Any other questions? No? Thanks again. I'd just like to end and say thanks again to all on the panel, the ministries especially. We're very thankful, Honourable Minister Bodden, and also Honourable Minister Kirkconnell for their support and continued support, CIFA for their support and continued support, CONCACAF for their support, the JFF, and also Swindon Town for their partnership. We also want to thank, of course, our many sponsors, Maples as a major sponsor, Dart as a major sponsor, Pepsi, Aquafina, and all the little sponsors as well, as we may call them. Without that little bit, it wouldn't happen, truthfully. So we're thankful to all. Catch restaurants, McDonald's restaurants, for even just feeding our coaches and our players. We're very thankful to all of our partners, and look forward to partnering with you in more events such like this. Thanks again to you all.